Welcome to Lansdowne Raw, the voice of the fans. Join me, Martin Prendergast and Conor McAvoy as we catch up with all the latest news in Irish football with Lansdowne Raw live. We just lose the music and away we go. Conor, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sneezing a bit of a cold, but I'll survive anyway.
I can't have sympathy for you because we'll be accused of just being woke again, won't we, Conor?
We will, and we're accused of not know what woke means. You mean?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not accused of being woke, it's not know what woke means. But exactly. No, I'm looking forward to next week. Now it's getting closer to squad announcement. Is getting closer to getting into the actual matches and getting away to hot weather for a couple of days, which unfortunately you'll miss out on.
This is my favourite week of the year. Why do you think that is, Conor?
Paddy's Day, but that's next week.
No, that's next week. No, it's Cheltenham. Cheltenham Festival's on. Horse racing. Anyone with any tips, don't be afraid to get involved on Lansdowne Raw to let me know what your tips are for Cheltenham Festival starting off tomorrow at Cheltenham, obviously. Looking forward to that. The Irish dominance will continue, I'm sure. But no, we're here to talk about the football. Some of the housekeeping stuff we have to go through. This is the most interactive football podcast out there, I think. Better than Talk Sport, better than Off the Ball, all those other channels where you might get your news in Irish football. But we've got Rep Tracker Conor McAvoy here this evening, giving us all the latest information. Who's going to be in the squad? What's the speculation? Conor's been reaching out all day. He's kept us in the loop off air. I'm not sure what he will be revealing, but we're going to cover lots and lots of Irish football news today. We're also going to cover, of course, Big to see how the lads got on over the weekend. We've just watched a bit of a cameo performance by a short one, sadly, by Evan Ferguson coming on this evening for West Ham as they lost 1-0. So that's why we wait a little bit later this evening to get you on. But if you haven't already subscribed to the show, please do. Please follow us on all our social channels and follow me at Lansdowne Raw _pod on X, Conor at Rep Tracker. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. It really does help us. And we want to hear from you this evening because, as Conor did say, exciting week ahead in Irish football. It's coming up to 2 key Nations League matches for the Republic of Ireland. And it is an exciting week, as I said, with the squad announcement. We've all been speculating. It seems we've been chatting about this for ages now, seeing who Heimer's going to pick. We know the lads, John O'Shea and Heimer, were both at games over the weekend. So we'll chat a little bit about that, of perhaps who they were looking at. But, lots of speculation. We want to hear who you think perhaps should be coming into the squad, which is going to be announced on Thursday. And, of course, we're going to be doing a show on Thursday evening to follow up on, give our views on the squads that are going to be picked for those key games. So we do want to hear from you, the Raw faithful.
We'll do our preferred squads tonight as well. Davis forgot to add them, but I'm going to add them here to our. So don't worry, I got you, Martin. But we'll talk about the nonsense that you and Dave came out of. With your,
listen, I kind of got it a little bit wrong. So this is the squad. I'm going to put this caveat out there. We were asked to pick our squads, and I got it wrong, to be honest. I've got it that what I think he will pick, not necessarily what I wanted to pick. But anyway, that's just my caveat of me kind of backtracking a little bit on some of my kind of selections. But yeah, great to see so many of you watching this evening already, up to 500 already. Loads of comments coming in. We will get through all your comments. As I said, most interactive Irish football podcast out there. Ignore the English accent. Ignore the lads from the north here as well. We will put subtitles on it as well. And no Dave this evening, sadly. He's on duty somewhere, wherever he is. I think he's cruising around the West End, the maverick that he is. He'll love that. And as what Dave does, that's a little inside joke there. But look, we want to hear from you this evening. Lots and lots to talk about, obviously. And we'll get right into it, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll get into the talking points, will be, Martin.
Yeah, so this evening wanted to talk about, obviously, speculation about the squad, of course. One of the kind of things we're talking about, a few players who we're thinking may be called up into the squad that's announced on Thursday. And we will also be talking about James McClean's comments about the FAI, a little bit more criticism, which is probably be expected from James now. But as I said, a provisional squad, it's kind of been leaked out a little bit. There is a squad that's been announced, will be announced, talking about Irish players are obviously coming in for these key games. And lots of speculation, especially seeing on the back of Stephen Bradley's comments recently with, criticism a little bit of the FAI about how they are supportive or not supportive of the League of Ireland. A bit of speculation of some Irish players from the League of Ireland who may be in this provisional squad. So we'll start off though with basically looking at, we think that James Abankwah is going to be in there. It's a bit of a Watford connection. This one, Abankwah's one that we're thinking might be in it.
I think what's worth saying, Martin, is that David Snyde of the 42, who's a very reliable journalist in Ireland, has had a scoop that himself and his Watford teammate Rocco Vata and Shamrock Rovers defender Josh Honohan are all in the 23-man squad, not even the 40-man squad, because he's also said that I think Johnny Kenny is in the 40-man squad, and I've also heard that Sam Curtis is in the 40-man provisional squad, but I'd imagine himself and Johnny Kenny won't be two to make the final 23. But just on them three there, we have them, according to David Snyde, making the final 23, which is great news. Huge for the League of Ireland. Josh Honohan being picked because from someone who watches a lot of the league, he's been exceptional ever since signing for Shamrock Rovers last off-season from Cork, and he was kind of looked at as a signing that he was a bit of a, he'll just fill a role for Shamrock Rovers. He's a versatile player, but that's really it. And he's turned out to be one of the best players in the league. Was exceptional in Europe. Can play a left back, can play a right back, but like Dennis Aaron, right-footed playing at left back, or he can play a wing back. Mainly it wouldn't be Shamrock Rovers, but he's kind of stepped up as he's went up the levels, playing against tougher opposition for Shamrock Rovers, and has looked almost one of the best players on the pitch in every game he's played. And I don't think it's a surprise. Like, I know people go on about a token gesture because of Stephen Bradley's comments, but I think at least he should be one that should have been in the, you'd say, top 30 Ireland players anyway on the borderline. I hope that the report is true that we do, because it's a great look for the League of Ireland. But and then obviously we have Rocco Vata and James Abankwah, and I think, Martin, I've been saying how good James Abankwah is for the last year or so, and it's just been a matter of time seeing him, and he's kind of exploded since he's went to Watford, going from playing as a right back and a back four to playing as a wing back to now he's a centre half, and he's been brilliant. He's tough. He actually wasn't great at the weekend against Millwall. I was watching that, and it was probably his worst performance going to Watford, but he wasn't even that bad. It's just his passing wasn't great, but he still was solid defensively. And then I think Rocco Vata is just, he's a name that gets us all excited, Martin. He just gets us off your feet. The goals he scores, his creativity, both feet. He's not just because he scores a lot. He shoots from long range and manages to score a lot of worldies, but it's not like he's a greedy player that just shoots on sight. He is a very smart footballer, and I think the three of them add into an Ireland squad, I think, will do great things, and particularly the fact that three of them are still very young and the three of them are uncapped, so it's always good when you have uncapped players coming in.
Yeah, I mean, the squad, obviously, we're going to come on and talk about what our predicted squads are for Thursday, and kind of what we think he's going to do. But, it is, we do, obviously, if you're new to the show, we do this every week. We'll also have our League of Ireland show tomorrow night as well, so that will be dropping. But, we obviously follow all the Irish players across all levels and abroad as well. So these players are perhaps familiar to many of you if you've been watching the show for a long time. And, yeah, we're not giving ourselves a massive pat on the back here, but we have done.
Yes, we will, Brandy. Yes, we will.
No,
yes,
I'm coming on to this. Like, I think yes, you did do the video, didn't we? Say 5 players who could make it through, and these are lads who are, it seems to be now that it is going to be in the squad on Thursday, and it is an exciting squad. For so long now, probably a lot of people who probably not even viewers of this show, to be honest, and that interest in Irish football, but will be going to the match next week. Like, let's be honest, we do have a lot of Irish fans who just go for the event and do go and support Ireland, and closer to the time they start taking a bit of interest in the squad and the players and things. So that's why we obviously do this show as well, to kind of help people understand, where some of these lads are coming from, give a bit of background on where they are and what clubs they've been with, or how they're playing. Obviously, that's why we do OBIG as well. But these names will be familiar to many of our viewers, I'm sure, and I think it is exciting. Too long we hear, we haven't got the players, and even people will probably be slamming that Ferguson didn't have much of an impact tonight, or hasn't done so well at West Ham so far. If you just read like the headlines of how's Evan Ferguson getting on. But some of these players are playing at a very high level, playing in the Premier League, playing in the Championship week in, week out. And we do have these players, and they're going to, I hope, kick on now and be given an opportunity. And I think Heimer and John O'Shea picking the squad hopefully deserve a little bit of credit
And,
now. Still kind of continue with Stephen Kenny bringing these young lads through.
I think it's weird to say Dave Martin. Sorry, Dave. Sorry, I was looking at Dave's message there, confused me. But it's weird to think that we're starting to see now competition for places, that we're starting to like have arguments between ourselves, or people would argue in the comments who they think should be called up to the Ireland squad or not. And obviously we're not blessed with huge amounts of talent, but we're starting to say there's players playing at a good level that you're kind of like, oh, is he going to get picked, or is he going to pick? I think this lad's good enough, he's doing well, and then someone's going to be left out that we all think is a good player who's on very good form, which we haven't had for a very long time. We've been relying on lads playing in League One, League Two, and lads that are just not really at the level. But now we have starting to have bundles of talent coming through. And just one thing that's really bugged me about these three players getting put out in the media that the squad's getting, that they're making the squad, is who is leaking this? Who from the FAI has put this out that Rocco Vata, Abankwah and Hohenheim are in the squad? Because I know for a fact it's not coming from Rocco Vata's camp, because Rocco Vata himself didn't know he was in the Ireland squad until that thing was put out, which is crazy to think that he's finding out, or people are coming out through media. And I believe people from the Albanian side were very, once that came out, were very annoyed with his father calling him a traitor to Albania and all this and that. But I just can't believe someone, it's obviously coming from the FAI, and obviously there's a lot of good people in the FAI, Martin, as you know, but someone, whoever is leaking this, like, we want to build up the squad. I think there's always something good about, I think, waking up on Thursday morning and being a bit excited who's going to make the squad. But when something's getting leaked on I think it was 6 days before the camp,
match day minus
fucking 6. Like, why is that? It's not even. It's mine is like 13 or 14. Squad, but like
squad announcement day minus what?
But like, it's squad announcement minus the 6. Like, 6. Why is that getting leaked? Like, as much as I like to get scoops and things and stuff, but like, who is leaking this? Like, it's not David Snyde's fault. He's getting told this information. It's whoever's telling him. Why are you telling him 6 days before the squad's coming out?
Yeah, I mean, look, in football you'll always have leaks, obviously, and you know, you do have a big backroom kind of staff, media personnel. You know, if it's a player being called up, you know, for example, someone from Watford releasing it because look, the lads have been called up, it's brilliant, and they wouldn't have been
told by Watford 6 days before.
No, exactly, yeah. So it is a bit strange, but you know, still it's exciting, and we've got a show about it, and you know, I'm like, I think, you know, on the back of the late show performance with Heimer and Carla, and you know, with Patrick Kilty on Friday, I've caught up a little bit of snippets of that. Little bit of a worry for me on how influential, I suppose, Packy Bonner is in that recruitment from the footballing side, and just at this board. You know, I think my point on that is that, you know, we do, the FAI structure is, obviously we've got CEO there, David Carell, we've got Mark Canham, and this is why I'm mentioning this now, is obviously we're going to come on to talk about James McLean's comments later on, but Packy Bonner on that board is the kind of football person, I suppose, and the other people on it, I don't know them all. I have met a few of them over my time as RIS London chairman around the Wembley game, of course, and they popped into the Cladder Ring as our fan kind of festival we had on there that weekend. But you know, you got to remember, they're not all football people as well, and I don't think the board are being told these squads, are they? Nothing's being told to them, so you just don't know. There's just a lot of people involved in Irish football, and you just don't know where, you know, this kind of news does come from. But obviously, journalists with good connections are getting it and sharing it, and you know, I think it's been received quite positively. I know there will be, when you hear that, for example, Josh has been called up, Shamrock Rovers player, you're going to be hearing, you know, people are going to think that's a gesture. They're going to be looking at, as Heimer was asked about, you know, there's a lot of criticism about the Late Show where he refers to them as Shamrocks and things like that. You know, that it's, everything's analysed in football. I mean, it's not the biggest draw Irish football at the moment, and we're trying to get the momentum behind the team now, especially going into these two games. And, you know, a lot of build up to it, obviously. But, you know, it's funny at times, I think, how the kind of public will just pick up on certain little things and and look for a story where it is with especially the League of Ireland stuff. They'll just see, oh, they've just called that up because someone gave criticism of last week. So I hope it's not a gesture with that, though, to be honest. I mean, you're saying he's a decent player, aren't you?
Yeah, he's done very well. I've been very impressed by him, in fairness. Like, I know, honestly, if he was coming in as a left back, I would still, to be honest, have Manning, O'Dowda, and Brady as the left backs of him, because they're playing week in, week out at a higher level. And Honan is only really back playing now. What was it, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, or could be a month? Well, obviously he is fit, but I don't know whether he's brought in as a right back, left back option, or even the thing of the versatility play either side, that if someone needs to, if there's an injury crisis in either full-back position, he can come in. But it's interesting. Maybe he mightn't make the final 23 in the end. Maybe there's a last-minute decision that, because Manning done very well. I know Southampton lost to Liverpool in the end of the weekend, but it was actually one of Manning's better performances of the season. And to play well against Liverpool away, obviously up against Salah, he actually done very well, which was impressive. So maybe, like, I think Manning would probably be the most likely of himself, Brady, and O'Dowd to get left out, because he's been left out before over the two. He's seen as weak defensively, although he is obviously technically superb, weak defensively, and maybe he was one left out. But then you kind of go, this lad just played against Liverpool and Anfield, done well. Are you really going to leave him out? So maybe there could be a late couple of decisions last minute. But it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see actually in the end who misses out in them full back positions, because unless he wants to play him as a left or right midfielder in a 4-4-2, which is obviously a possibility. But it's interesting now, Martin, what will be the final squad, which is good that we have these question marks going. Who is going to be in, who's going to be out?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, we'll come on to kind of go through our squads and what we think it will be, or what we think Heimer's going to do a little bit later on in the show. But thank you to the 1,100 of you watching so far. If you are watching, do make sure drop a quick message on your WhatsApp groups to say, look, did you know that Lansdowne Raw Live's on at the moment? Here you go. We'll get along and watch it. The more viewers, the better for us. And we do need you to help us build the pod. Do subscribe. It really does support us and helps us out with it, all these sorts of algorithms and all that kind of IT stuff that I don't really understand, to be honest. Right. Talking about IT and errors and misunderstandings and stuff, should we just go O big now, and we'll see where Dave's made mistakes this week?
Yeah, go on ahead.
Happy with that? Right, we're going to fly through this and then we're going to talk about our squads, but we want to hear your comments, and you can call out Dave for any mistakes as well. So right, we're going to start off with the goalkeepers. So these are the goalkeepers who are eligible to play for Ireland. Within Kelleher was an unused sub for Liverpool this week, champions elect. Mark Travers, 90 minutes, 1-0 loss versus Swansea. Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Hull City. And Josh Keeley, 90 minutes in a 2-1 loss versus Northampton. And Gavin Bazunu, still on the comeback trail, 90 minutes, 3-0 loss for Union Saint something, blah, 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 blah. There you go.
Horrible. Horrible you are.
Right. Good to see Gavin back still. We're on the road to recovery. Expecting him to be in the squad, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We'd expect him to probably replace Max O'Leary. Unfortunately, the Max O'Leary, who's kind of just been dropped for the obvious reasons. Bazunu's coming back in, and he's kind of just is going to be the one that makes way. So it'd be good to see Gavin Bazunu back in, but obviously he'll only play if there's injury concerns with Kelleher. Maybe I think you'd probably have Travers as the number 2 for this window, Martin, because just that Bazunu's not really played enough, and I probably would rather have a fully fit Travers than a probably what I'd say Bazunu's at 80% at the moment. So yeah. That's
all
it,
right.
really.
We'll move on to the defenders. Right. Unused sub for Seamus Coleman this week, the captain. Expecting him perhaps to be in the squad. Darragh O'Shea, 90 minutes, 1-0 loss versus Crystal Palace. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes and a 1-0 loss versus Aston Villa. Liam Scales, not in the squad for Celtic. And Shane Duffy dropped late for team bus. Traffic, apparently. Mark McGuinness, 65 minutes, an own goal and 4-0 loss versus Burnley. Callum O'Dowda, captain, I believe, again, 90 minutes, 2-1 loss versus Sunderland. Matt Doherty, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Everton. Jake O'Brien, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Wolves. Ryan Manning, 83 minutes and a 3-1 loss versus Liverpool. And Andrew Omobamidele is injured at the moment with Strasbourg. Robbie Brady, 73 minutes and a 1-0 loss versus Sheffield United. Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes, 1-0 loss versus West Brom, played as right back. And John Egan, 31 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Bristol City for Hull. Aaron Cash, an unused sub again for Brighton. And Anselmo Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes, 1-0 loss versus Ajax. And Will Ferry is playing on Sunday for Dundee United. James Abankwah, 90 minutes, 2-1 loss versus Millwall. And that concludes the defenders. So, James Abankwah, we've obviously spoken about him a little bit there. Seamus Coleman still not involved.
Well, he was on the bench. He was
on the bench, yeah, but
first time back.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you've seen, but Moyes spoke about him. I didn't know whether it was today or it was yesterday about his future at the club, and he said he wants Coleman to stay in whatever capacity Coleman wants, whether that's coaching or playing on. Wow. Hopefully, he plays on, because I think it's right that when we qualify for the World Cup there next year, Coleman is still part of the squad in some capacity, even if he's not going to play. I don't want to see him, to be honest with you, not to give away our preferred squad leader, but I don't really want to see him involved this month, because I don't think you're going to play him and you're just bringing him in really for moral. Obviously, he's probably the best captain Ireland have had since Roy Keane. Well, he is our best captain since Roy Keane, and having him around the change room would mean a lot. But I think with the performances of O'Brien, Darrow Shea can play right back, even Jimmy Dunn has done very well. And then, who am I forgetting? Matt Doherty, obviously, as well. So, no, I don't think it would be right to bring Coleman. As actually Heimer did say, was it November? He said that we've decided we're not going to have Doherty and Coleman in the same squads together anymore. So, I'd imagine he'll probably stick to his word, and he'll have Doherty in the squad, and Coleman can stay at Everton and continue to build up his fitness and not risk an injury.
I think you might see he probably won't travel to if he is kind of. I think I could see him selected, not traveling to Bulgaria, but being around perhaps just in Dublin. I think that would be a nice thing as a kind of senior pro to be there, and that's not diminishing obviously his impact. But if he's not going to be playing, he's not fit enough to be playing. I think it is important for that continuity, that have those leaders around the squad. I think and involved in it.
And Moyes actually said, I think Moyes said he'd be happy for him to go away with Ireland, because I think if Moyes looking at it, Coleman's not going to get match fitness again at Everton, really, because O'Brien's playing so well there. So they're not just going to bring Coleman on to give him minutes here or there unless they have a game one or they need to bring on an extra defender. So he probably looks at is it a good thing if Coleman went away with Ireland and even played 45 minutes or played 60 minutes in a game just to build up fitness from his club point of view? But obviously it is still an injury doubt. But if Heimer wants Coleman there, I'm happy for Coleman to be there, because he is our captain at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think with Seamus as well, you've got to trust his judgment as a senior pro, and you know he's not going to do anything stupid. He's not like a young lad coming through thinking, I'm really pushing to get into this squad now. You know, we know where he is, we know how he knows where his body is, and we'll adapt to that as well. Bamadelli though, he is out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely out. Yeah. I think he's back. He returns during the international break, so I think as soon as the international break is over, he'll be back playing, which is good to see, because he had started very well at Strasbourg before he got that injury.
It is a shame for him, of course, missing out, obviously with injury, and that because we were hoping that move would kind of kickstart him a little bit, but has done really well, I think, in an Ireland shirt when he's done, given the opportunity. And Jacob Bryan as well, like you said, I think has done very well now that he's got in at Everton. I think Moyes has been a breath of fresh air for him and giving him an opportunity. So yeah, fantastic to see. Right, we're going to the midfielders. So Josh Cullen, 90 minutes in a 4-0 win versus Luton. Absolutely flying at Burnley. Jason Knight, 90 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Hull City. Jason Malumbi, 90 minutes in a 1-0 win versus QPR for West Brom. Ben Azaz, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Swansea. Andy Moran, 45 minutes in a 3-2 loss versus Coventry. Jack Taylor, 7 minutes in the 1-0 loss versus Crystal Palace. Jamie McGrath is still out injured, sadly. Will Smallbone, cousin Will, 71 minutes, goal. I was very happy for him, scoring against Liverpool. Alan Brown, 56 minutes, 2-1 win versus Cardiff City. Mark Sykes, 70 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Hull City. Luke O'Connell, 61 minutes, 3-0 loss versus Blackpool. And Boston Lowell, not in the squad for Stoke City. Connor Coventry, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Stockport for Charlton. And Rocco Vata, who we're expecting to see in the squad announced on Thursday. 90 minutes in a 2-1 loss versus Millwall. John Joe Patrick Finn, 60 minutes in a 2-0 loss versus Auxerre. So, happy with the midfielders, how they got on over the weekend?
I think we're all happy about Cousin Will getting on the goals to represent the Prendergast / whatever, if it's the other side of the family, doing well.
Living the dream.
Yeah, so it was good to see him score. It was a very tidy goal, in fairness. Obviously, there was the mix-up at the back, but he finished it well. He gave Allison and Van Dijk the eyes, which was nice to see. I think a bit of a worry, Jack Taylor seems to be getting less and less minutes at Ipswich. Would you pick him from the squad if he's barely playing? And when you see John Joe Patrick Finn, obviously he's still playing in the top 5 league, but Reims are very, very poor in the French league context and seem to be losing every game. But I have seen multiple comments from Stade Reims fans saying that the only player they respect is John Patrick. So he obviously has made an impression with them so far, which is, if you can shine in a bad team, it does show a bit of something. And he is a type of player that Ireland's kind of missed in midfield. Everyone in Ireland's midfield seems to be below 5'9", who play in the deeper positions. So no, I think this weekend has been a quieter one for the midfielders, just other than obviously Smallbone, but it doesn't matter because international break is coming and they'll all be shining in Ireland jersey because we always know how well the midfield performs for Ireland.
Yeah, Binaz has his first goal coming up.
It is.
Right, we'll go on to the attackers. Do keep your comments coming in. Evan Ferguson, Monday, he played tonight, come on as a substitute for West Ham. Troy Parrott playing on Thursday for AZ Alkmaar. Adam Eder, 6 minutes in the goal and a 2-0 win versus Hibernian. Tom Cannon, 26 minutes in a 1-0 win versus Preston North End. Sammy Schmodix, out injured at the moment, sadly. Fessi Ebasele, also out injured. Casey McAteer, not in the squad for Leicester, who are in serious trouble. Mikey Johnson, 62 minutes in a 1-0 win versus QPR. And Chidozie Ogbene, another one on the injury list for Ireland. Callum Robinson, 72 minutes in a 2-1 win versus Sunderland. Michael Obafemi, 29 minutes in a 3-0 loss versus Sheffield Wednesday. And Aaron Connolly, 15 minutes in a 2-1 win versus Watford for Millwall. And Sinclair Armstrong, 79 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Hull City. And Tyler Goodrum was an unused sub for Oxford United. I'm going to start you actually where Sinclair Armstrong, he's playing a lot.
He forgot to mention that he won the penalty. Do you forget to mention that he won the penalty that got them the equaliser? He won the
penalty, but has he been having opportunities in games to score, or has he?
He's
been wasteful or anything like that.
Everyone who watches, everyone knows who knows Rep Tracker knows how much I love Sinclair Armstrong, and I watch pretty much every single Bristol City game. And not to be biased, but Bristol City create almost little to none chances for the striker. He's the type of player, he kind of creates his own chances with his pace and power. He would flick it past the defender and go, or someone puts a hopeful ball in behind and just he uses his freakish athleticism to get onto stuff. Is kind of always him creating chances. Obviously, he should be doing a lot better goal scoring wise. We know that, but what he offers in terms of his ability, and he creates a lot of chances are created for himself. He doesn't really suit a team that much that he's sitting in the box for 90 minutes and he's relying on scraps or feeding off balls into the box. It's not really his game, but no, they wouldn't be the greatest creativity size. But what he offers, that's like, I don't know how many goals. There must be a great stat this season of goals that have come from either free kicks, because of Scott Twine, who's probably the best set piece taker in the championship, who goals come from his set pieces that Sinclair Armstrong has won from. As soon as he picks up the ball in the counter attack, he's just pulled down straight away because no one wants to get in a 1v1 battle with him. So, like, he done very well there at the weekend against Hull, as he seems to always do these days, and he seemed to be playing very well, and Liam Manning seems to get more and more fond of him, which is huge news. But yeah, you know how much I love him, particularly when the other Irish strikers are doing pretty poor at the moment. Like Adam Eda scored off the bench the weekend, but he only played 6 minutes, and I've seen a lot of people saying how in form Adam Eda is. I wouldn't really say that. Since that Aston Villa game, he's been on the bench a lot for Celtic. They've been playing Maida up front, they've been playing Jota up front, and he started here and there, and I think he struggled. I think people are kind of overestimated how well he's done. But I thought Troy Parrott was absolutely brilliant against Spurs on Thursday night. I thought he was the best player in all honesty. Yeah, he had a 1v1 chance he should have scored, but his all-round play, his hold-up play, his link-up play, his ability on the ball. Actually, me and Dave talked about it on Friday. I forgot about that, but just on this show to say how good he was on Thursday. Obviously, when he didn't play, and I don't know about or just on the other striker side of rant is Tom Cannon's. I don't think he's scored for Sheffield United yet, if I'm right. I know he got an assist on his first or second game against Derby, but he hasn't scored. When Tom Cannon doesn't score goals, Martin, he struggles to offer a lot to a team. That's why I always say about what he offers to the team compared to Sinclair Armstrong. I don't think Tom Cannon offers a lot to a team if he's not scoring goals. Brilliant finisher, yes. Very good movement, but his hold-up play, his link-up play has a lot to be desired for.
Yeah, I did this. I'm just going to pick up on a couple of points there. I did listen back to the episode you did with Dave and chatting about Troy Parrott during the week in Europe against Spurs, his former club, of course. And, Dave, you're saying about how, he kind of needs to bulk up a little bit and get a bit stronger. But I think, he's an example now of a player who's gone away, learned a different kind of game that probably suits him a bit. I think ultimately, the goal should be the Premier League, without a doubt, getting back there. I think you'll see a more rounded player when he does come back, if he does. But I think it's helped his game develop massively. And again, I think just the pressure, I think sometimes got to be a bit patient with these lads. They're very young coming through. Even Evan, all that hype about Evan. I mean, I know we're big fans. We're guilty probably of hyping him up as well. But he's a young lad ultimately, and all that hype and pressure, and everyone kind of speculates and he handles it so well. But it must be pressure. Like, he's a Premier League player. Like, he's not getting opportunities massively. The expectation of Ireland fan, like every Irish fan tonight is watching to see. We're all chatting on WhatsApp groups to see, oh God, he didn't get much of a chance, or how's he played, or they clearly don't rate him, and yet we're worried, and because our hope for next week, in a way, is he going to be starting now? Is he going to be fit enough? He's still a very young lad, and I think Troy Parrott as well had that pressure on him and moved away. And I could see that perhaps happening with Evan in time, that he may have to consider that kind of another move kind of thing, where he's going to be playing week in, week out and develop, because he is a big built lad and, very, very good. I mean, we can see it, but he has gone off the ball without a doubt. But I think I think we underestimate the amount of pressure some of these players are put under. And I'm hoping he comes into the squad, obviously, on Thursday. Comes into the squad physically in good condition, with Heimer and John O'Shea putting an arm around him, saying, look, you're really part of our future here. And this is where you're going to get the love. And we trust that you're going to get game time and things. And I think Troy is one that you can look at as well and say, look, you went away, took yourself out the limelight a little bit. And you've actually delivered now. So, I just think we have to be a bit patient at times.
People always say about overhyping a player. You just simply cannot not have overhyped I don't even think the word's overhyped, not have gone into a frenzy over Evan Ferguson when he broke through. He has the record for the most Premier League goals in a calendar year by a teenager, along with Wayne Rooney. How could you not get excited over a player like that? Like with Troy Parrott, when he first came through, he was doing it in underage football, and yes, he was probably the best in Europe at his age at one stage, and he would have got hype as one of them underage players coming through. But what Evan done was in men's football in the Premier League, and I just think it's just a bad period he goes through. I'm not gonna. I've seen people saying he's finished at 20 and he's never going to come back, and like I still think Evan Ferguson could go on to be one of the best strikers in the world, and I just think it's just been weird since he's gone to West Ham, since the change of formation. He came on, the first game was brilliant. The change formation, which hasn't suited him. I still think Ferguson's going to shine in a West Ham shirt before the end of the season. If he gets the goal for Ireland over this international break, would be great. And like with Troy, I think Troy has just suited that environment in the Netherlands perfectly. I know Dave always likes to go on about this physicality thing with him, but Dave just likes to judge it off that one game when he played against Finland, if being honest. So I don't think it's as big as an issue as Dave makes it out to be. Dave just likes to.
Yeah, I kind of get the point though, but I think we just have to be patient. Even like people forget, and we like to kind of chat and educate the listeners and viewers, and kind of remind people, not being patronising, educate you. But Harry Kane had loads of loan deals. They didn't all work out. He was on the bench at Leicester, at Leyton Orient, Millwall. And then he came back and he had that little stroke of luck and he went into that great run. That's what can happen.
And Martin, don't forget, Harry Kane was on the bench at Leighton Orient and Leicester when they were championship. Evan Ferguson's on the bench at West Ham, who are a Premier League side, and when are considered a mid-table side, and probably mid-table Premier League sides are stronger than they ever have been. And I think, like, when you look, I don't think he's the one should be looking to go Europe. Obviously, he was going to go to Bayern Leverkusen, which would have been the perfect move to go on loan, which maybe could be an option in the summer. You never know. But I think if we're looking at someone to go there again from the English aspect, I think I would say Andy Moore has to get out of Stoke in the summer. Well, obviously he's only on loan there at Brighton, but going back to the Championship, like when he played the first half of the weekend, he can't impact the game at all with Stoke because of how poor they are football wise. He needs to be a team that plays actual football, not just a load of runners that kick the ball over the top and hope for the best. And Stoke were a terrible side. I think it's been a terribly chosen loan by going to Stoke. People thought they'd do better than what they are, and I don't know, like Andy Moore's place in the squad is probably seriously under threat for Thursday, and you know how much that annoy me, Martin, if he's not picking Thursday. And I just think a lot of these lads shouldn't be going to the Championship or whatever League One. If you really want to, like, a lot of them could go to a top. I could imagine Andy Moore going to even Spain, going to France, going to Germany, and playing in the top leagues there and doing very well to develop himself. And obviously, he has to develop physically as well. But like playing the Championship just with some of these lads just isn't the step forward.
Yeah, we do want to hear your views. Obviously, the Raw faithful, put it out there to you. Who do you want to see in the squad? As we're chatting away here, give us your comments. Let us know if Connor's talking nonsense or I'm talking nonsense. I'm sure you're very opinionated on that. And we want to hear who you're most looking forward to seeing in the squad on Thursday, and who you think is going to be the main kind of player that's going to have to step up for these two key games against Bulgaria. Really looking forward to them. Obviously, we're going to be covering that all over the pod. The lads are travelling off to Plovdiv, and they're going to be going there and doing all the pre-match, post-match. Going to be with the Irish fans, chatting to them. So looking forward to that trip as well. Just under 1,000 Irish fans travelling over to Bulgaria, which is an amazing support. And obviously then we'll be back at Lansdowne Road on the Sunday. Looking forward to that one, and hopefully I've got the job done after the first leg, as it were. But yeah, we want to hear from you. Give us your predictions as well for even starting lineup, so we can go that early if you want. If you want to think, who do you want to see starting in goal? Who do you want to see starting in defence? What kind of your best lineup that you think Heimer should go with for these games? One point as well, we'd just like to make out from Obig. Obviously, Liam Scales, who said he was unused for Celtic over the weekend, and obviously he is suspended for the first game.
By the way, did Dave have him down as unused? He wasn't in the squad. He has a face injury or something. I can't remember what. Something wrong with something happened to his face in the last game, and he's out injured. I don't know whether he broke his nose or damaged eye or something, but he wasn't involved because of an eye injury, or not eye injury, face injury. But yeah.
But he's also suspended, though, isn't he, for the first game? So that might kind of go against him a little bit.
And he's not playing. He's not playing anymore.
Exactly. So yeah, we want to hear from you, the Raw faithful, please, and give us your comments. Anything you want to ask us about Irish football as well. Anything you'll use. We're going to chat a little bit about James McClean later on. Nearly close to 2,000 viewers this evening. So do get your message, get the WhatsApp out again, send it around. Make sure your friends are all watching and subscribe to the show and the YouTube channel.
The most important thing, Martin, is to hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video. Just leaving a like on the video. I know it takes 2 seconds if you're on YouTube, or go onto YouTube and leave a like. That's what helps us grow the most, is people liking and subscribing. Helps spread the good word of Martin Prendergast.
That's it, the gospel. And also, anyone got any views on Cheltenham this week? Do let me know. And I'll give you a tip for tomorrow, but at the end of the show. Right. We will go on to now chatting. Will we go on to the squads?
No, we'll James McLean. James McLean,
right, take a break. James McLean, friend of Rotherham fans. As I noticed this week, with more comments with them, there he is, looking really happy there. Still at Wrexham, still flying the flag for the Republic of Ireland, still showing off the tattoo as much as he can. But he's been in the news a little bit this week. Done an interview with Dan McDonnell of The Independent, very good interview, where he was particularly critical of the FAI. So we know they watch sometimes, people from the FAI. We're obviously an independent podcast here. We will give our forthright views. But obviously, we also do want to promote Irish football. We can bash them all we want, but we all want the best for Irish football, obviously, and that's why we invest our money and time following Ireland all around the world. So, Connor, tell me, what did James McLean have to say this week?
Do you want me to read out the quotes to you? So you put me on the spot. Was I supposed to rehearse these quotes before I came on live?
If you're not on the ball, that's fine. I can deal with this if you really want.
I sent you it before we went live.
I know that.
You trying to get me in trouble here, are you?
Right, here we go. So, James has kind of said this stuff before, though, hasn't he? So basically, a few of the Irish players did give some money into a kind of fund to help support a scholarship initiative. That was along with Seamus Coleman and Gavin Bazunu, and they gave €30,000 donation to create a pathway for young Irish footballers, providing them with financial assistance to train full-time while completing their education. And that was something that they kind of put to the FAI, but it was an initiative, sadly, that kind of seemed to have stalled and went nowhere. So obviously that's quite disappointing to kind of Irish professional footballers who, didn't have to do that. It's a fantastic gesture, of course, but, I think it's not gone down well with James McLean at all. And he was in this interview with Dan McDonnell, as I said, he has been quite scathing, to be very honest, about Mark Canham in particular. And some of his quotes are, in all honesty, the FAI and Mark Canham led us down a garden path. They seemed to be interested, as if they were all on board, but ultimately it was all nonsense. Actions speak louder than words, and when push comes to shove, they ignored it and it went dead in the water. So this is his frustration, obviously, that he believes that is indicative of the FAI not prioritizing the development of the League of Ireland, which he sees as critical for producing the future national team players. And obviously James is very affiliated with Derry, as we know, and is a big voice really in Irish football. Without a doubt, James McLean, anything he's, even when you think back to the Declan Rice situation and players who are eligible or anything really, he's always got an opinion. One thing he has obviously said, which I think, I don't know really how to take this myself, to be honest, but when he's saying it, maybe it's old school and patriotic, but I feel the head of the association should be Irish, and the vast majority of the people running the game should be Irish. To grow the game, there has to be a consistent approach taken by people who have a connection with the league or a belief in it. And that kind of follows on a little bit of some of the criticism we've had from like Stephen Bradley, also Damien Duff, that are these people making these big decisions in Irish football? Have they got their finger on the pulse? Are they doing it by the best of Irish football? We've seen this pathway developed by Mark Canham. My worry with that, in all honesty, has always been that, as with all these things that you can put in place, especially these big kind of, massive changes, to the calendar and things like that, the person, if you give sole kind of responsibility to someone to come up with that plan, that person could just walk away tomorrow. And that's always been my worry there. And, I think Mark Canham is a very divisive name and personality in Irish football. I don't think we hear from him too much, whether we need to or not. I'm kind of divided on that, to be honest. But, we've had recruitment of managers and sacking of coaches or non-renewal of contracts or whatever it may be. And he seems to be a name associated with that very much. And so he's an easy character to kind of knock. And then I think to go at it, well, he doesn't understand Irish football because he's English. I think that is a little bit, it doesn't sit well with me, that kind of side of it, because yes, we want Irish, but there are Irish people obviously who can do these jobs, but I don't know if that's really relevant or not. But I can understand it that people are still wary. It's that Irish wariness of like John Ball telling us why we listen to this English guy telling us how we should run our football in Ireland and stuff. I can understand that. And my view is perhaps, like I said, my only worry with the Mark Canham situation is he has been given a massive responsibility and he can walk away tomorrow. And also that's following on the back of Jonathan Hill, who was kind of supposed to pick up all the pieces of the post John Delaney. We also have this board, not to go off on a tangent here, but we have a board of non-football people. And then we have Packy Bonner on that board, who, as we know a little bit more from the late interview recently, and I've known this for some time as well, Packy is the only real football person on that board. You know, we have different kind of voluntary directors with business backgrounds, things like that. But they're not necessarily football people. And I think football's a business. I think to understand and develop football, you have to understand football. You have to understand the politics of it. You have to understand, in Ireland, the schoolboy league, which I think that's where I would be aligned with James McClean's thinking, that, you know, an Irish person has to understand that. An Irish person who knows the league, has been in the league, should understand it. So, Conor, any thoughts on that?
You can obviously see both sides of the thing. Like, the most important thing for that sort of job is having the best man in the road, because whether someone's Irish or not Irish, or has Irish heritage or doesn't, if they're not qualified to be a CEO or whatever the official title of Mark Adams' job is these days, because I know it changed, they shouldn't have it because someone's Irish or someone had a good influence on the League of Ireland. Because at the League of Ireland, they still should be the number one focus for anyone coming into Irish football at any level, because to have a good national team, you need a strong league that develops young talent. And I do think the pathways plan for the majority is a very good plan. Like, even the idea of going to having 3 tiers in Irish football, which is the Mark Callum tenure, is something that is badly needed. The plan he created, the pathways plan about getting investment in academies and building these national centres all over the country, is something that's badly needed. So I do think the majority of his ideas are good. I do think a lot of his ideas are actually good ideas. It's just about getting them in place and doing the right way of going about it, and being vocal with fan bases, being vocal, come out and talk on as much as possible, which I think has lacked a bit. But no, I do think McLean's been overly judgmental on that side of things, but that wouldn't be. But for the whole thing of the 30 grand, like giving 30 grand to play for players full scholarship and tenure, like, that's beyond the joke, to be honest, Martin. Like, how has that not been sorted? Like, literally all you could say is it's obvious who are thought is the most talented young players in the country, and if they could go to any of the underage coaches and say, what player do you think would benefit the most from this scholarship program, and say to the club, here's your 30 grand, you put that money into developing this player, and that's that. But instead, they just did nothing with it, which baffles me even more why nothing was done with the money. Like, 30 grand is nothing fee. Like, whatever, if they paid 10 grand each, you wouldn't, no matter how rich you are, you wouldn't want to get rid of 10 grand just for it to go to, well, I don't know, where is it? It's sitting in the FAI's bank account. Where is it? Like,
no, that's the kind of problem with it, you know. Those, let's not forget as well, not too long ago, they kind of missed the boat with Brexit funding and things they could have got from it. But let us know your comments on that James McLean thing. I mean, I can see Rolling Stone, you put up a comment there just to say, you know, I think you're missing James McLean's point. Kind of enlighten me. I don't know what point we're missing here. Well, I'm missing, if that's what you're alluding to, because I think we get James's point completely on this. But I think as well, sometimes I'm going to play a little bit devil's advocate here. I think sometimes we get some players, and I don't know, well, I'm going to say it anyway. You know, we do get some kind of senior pros or players who perhaps are looking at a future career in Irish football, or how they can influence things. And, you know, James, you know, we should, I think, embrace this knowledge and experience of, like I said earlier, Seamus Coleman being around the squad, not diminishing his football ability, and I don't think he's finished yet at international level, but you can't kind of rule out how important he is around the squad as a senior pro for them young lads coming in with him. I think James McLean will have a lot to offer for Irish football, and rather than perhaps hammering the FAI all the time, maybe we need to kind of have a bit of a reach out from the powers that be at the FAI and engage with some of these senior pros on, look, okay, help us get forward. Like, you know, James McLean doesn't need the money, but it's a little bit like Robbie Keane. I still feel a bit aggrieved with that, to be honest. That, you know, we want lads to give back a little bit, and help the FAI learn. Like, you know, we are in a mess sometimes, and all these things you're talking about, developing the pathways and all those things we want to see in Irish football. Ultimately, it's going to come from money. and investment in the game. And I think if James McLean can be a bit more positive, rightly call out things when they're wrong. That is completely wrong. If he's put 30,000 in with other teammates to help the future of football, he's got to call out the FAI. I agree with that completely. But also then they equally, I think the FAI have got to embrace that and go, right, let's kind of have James McLean working with us here rather than hammering us in the press. So I think that's what we have to kind of think of anyway. But we've got loads of comments coming in tonight. Really do appreciate that. And obviously let us know your views on that James McLean situation. We're also going to talk about the squad, of course. Should we move on to that, Connor?
Yeah, I think we'll go through our squads here now just so people can hammer you in the comments and tell you how.
Should we go for Dave's first while he's not here and abuse him?
Laugh at him.
Right, this is David Dunn, our usual host of the show, but he's not here this evening.
He's not committed.
He's not committed to it. He is the Roy Keane of the late 90s towards this show. It's an away game for him, and he's not allowed out to obviously answer the call. So this is his squad. I'll read it out for the audio, obviously. So Dave's squad's Quiveen Kelleher, Gavin Bazunu, Mark Travers. He's got Nathan Collins, Jake O'Brien, Darragh O'Shea, James Abankwah, Matt Doherty, Dennis Erkin, Robbie Brady, Andrew Bamadelli, who we know is injured already. Josh Cullen in midfield, Jason Knight, Malumbi, Finn Azaz, Will Smallbone, Cousin Will, Evan Ferguson, Troy Parrott, Adamida, Rocco Vata, Mikey Johnson, Fessi Eversele, and Tom Cannon. And that is Dave's squad. So as I said, we know Bamadelli's not going to make that.
And he's picked Dennis Erkin, just presuming he's declared for Ireland. For player Dave just likes to go ahead of things and just think someone has declared for Ireland when he's probably not.
Dave's breaking news there. That's it.
He goes, I know he had it in brackets if he's selected, but you can't just say, I'll pick him. I think we'd all pick him, but we have to presume he's not going to be in the squad. It's not like Dave to be. Dave's usually the pessimist in this podcast. For some reason, he's over optimistic. But I just on because of Josh Honohan being thought of being in the squad. I think if Josh Honohan's in the squad, I think I would imagine that would be Dennis Erkin hasn't declared for Ireland. So I don't know. That would be my guess, Martin. But we'll let Dave be the positive one for once, will we?
Yeah, we'll let him away with that one then. But yeah, look, it's not a bad squad. I mean, this is a squad obviously that he wanted to see. Yeah, and this is the squad you want to see. Yeah, we'll go with yours.
Oh, cool.
Here he is, the man with the finger on the pulse. Do you want to read out your own names here?
I will. Well, obviously the three goalkeepers are the same as Dave's with the three normal ones, and then you obviously have Collins, O'Brien, O'Shea, Abankwah, Doherty, Manning, Brady as the back line as such. Obviously, I've left Liam Scales out as he's suspended and probably wouldn't have picked him anyway. Martin's nodding away here because I haven't picked Colin Wood either. Sorry to tell you, but I've picked two defenders that have contributed more. And so yeah, that the back line I think picks itself. Maybe people might say Shane Duffy, but Jesus, please not Shane Duffy. And then onto the midfield, it would be I'd have Cullen, Knight, Malumbi, Mourne, Patrick Finn, Finn Azaz, and Will Smallbone. I think that's the most midfielders we've probably had an Irish squad in a while if we went by that. Left out Jack Taylor, just because Jack Taylor is barely playing a minute for Ipswich at the moment, even though he done well when he last played for Ireland. Obviously, this is preference, so I have Andy Mourne. I think he could possibly be dropped because of not having the best of times the last couple of months with Stoke, even though he's picking up assists and stuff, but is all around not really impacting the game as much as what he should for a player of his talent. And I think I'm the only one of the three, not to spoil yours, Martin, have John Patrick in the team. I know people are saying whether he's ready yet or not, but my attitude always is with Ireland international football, particularly with a game like this, even though it's a competitive, not so competitive game, really. Obviously, it is competitive, but like it's not the end of the world what the result is. Well, you would kind of be worried we've lost to Bulgaria, but you know what I mean. And I think if a player is of the quality to come into the squad that we think could be an international in the next 6 months to a year and has the talent, I think you bring them in and get them adjusted to a squad. That's why I have John Patrick in. I think might as well just get him in now and get him embedded into a squad and give him his debut in March and build on that, which will hopefully move to maybe a move in the summer for Ems get relegated. And then the forwards I have Ferguson, Troy Parrott, Alameda, Rocco Vata, Mikey Johnson, and Captain Sinclair Armstrong. I know I'm probably the only man that'll pick Sinclair Armstrong, but I just think it's time we get him in the senior squad. What he offers is so unique. Me and Martin, I think it's usually when it's just me and you on, I would go on a big rant about how much he could offer to our senior squad compared to our other strikers. And obviously, I've left out Tom Cannon there. I've left out Callum Robinson, who's scoring goals. I think it's about the future, and I think Sinclair Armstrong is the future. And when we go to play against the bigger nations away from home, I think Sinclair Armstrong could be crucial for Ireland. And he could also play left wing. People seem to forget that. Think he's a striker only. Obviously, he's naturally a 9, but you could easily play him on the left wing, and he could do a job left wing. But I don't think he will be picked. But that's just my preference as the leader of the Sinclair Armstrong fan club.
There you go. Right, and my squad is what I think Heimer's going to pick. Okay, so I kind of got it wrong, but here we go. So my squad's Kelleher, Bazunu, Max O'Leary, Nathan Collins, Jake O'Brien, Darrow Shea, Omo Bamadelli, which we know will not be in the squad, obviously injured. Callum O'Dowda. I don't think we've got a lot of leaders in our squad, and a captain now of Cardiff. So for me, he gets in there. Robbie Brady, Matt Doherty, and Abankwah. Got Josh Cullen, Jason Knight, Malumbi, Finazaz, and cousin Will.
Hold on a second here. Why is Max O'Leary in there over Mark Travers?
Probably got a bit confused with it, to be honest. Look, you get honesty from me, not like that other charlatan. And then I probably did mean Mark Travers. And then you got Evan Ferguson, Troy Parrott, Callum Robinson, Rocco Vata, Mikey Johnson, Festi Abasele, who again I know is injured, and Tom Cannon. So I know that you laughed at me when I put Callum Robinson in there, but I think Callum Robinson has done what I expect Callum Robinson to do when he knows there's an international break. He starts scoring goals and he starts doing what, you might not be familiar with this, but attacking players need to score, Connor. And that's what he does. And I know you're number one fan of the Didsy fan club. But, we've moved on from that now. We need our strikers and attacking players to be a threat in front of goal and actually score goals.
No, in fairness, he is doing well, and he has done well. But I just think move on to the future of Irish football. And in fairness, I know I make it out like I dislike Cam Robinson. I don't all actually think he's a good player. Mm-hmm. I just think we have better options as such, and are more the future. And I'm trying to look towards the World Cup qualifiers starting in September, which are the most important thing at the end of the day. And I get that though, but I think he just with our injuries as well, like he wouldn't be near it. Schmonix, Chidozie was around, Festi was fit. He probably doesn't come into it. So I think I am looking at it like that. But I think that senior pro a little bit. Maybe I kind of go on too much about that. But I think he's in scoring form. If we did have injuries within the squad when they meet up, I think you're going to know what he can do in the squad. You can put him into that position on the left, and he can do a job for you. He's going to tactically be aware of what we need to do. And I'm probably overplaying that. All of them will be able to do that, of course. But I think, he probably has got. Is it the twilight of his career? Is it unfair to say that? I don't know. But it's technically last chance with Ireland. I don't know, like we could say that any player really, because like he hasn't done terribly for Ireland, but he hasn't really done it. But
age profile, even look, you could even argue, if he's not in it, likes of, I'll be honest, I can't see, Casey McAteer is obviously not playing. We've got too many not playing. He has actually one who is playing. Even Aaron Connolly,
Aaron Connolly was playing. It's frustrating because he was playing, and then he picked up a little niggle, and then was cup tied, and then only played 15 minutes a weekend. Obviously, for like an outside shout, you could have Aidan Womack, who could come in as a winger, who's done very well at Millwall, but he's not that long back from an injury, and he's kind of the profile of winger that probably we could do with. And obviously, I thought Louis Barry was going to be coming into this squad as a winger option, but he's out injured now, so. We are in terms of the attack, and especially wide areas, because Smodix played on the wing for us a lot. We are missing. Festi's injured, and Ben is injured, obviously, as you said. But we're kind of on the bare bones in terms of wing options. So it's interesting to see who he would bring in as wingers, or could he go for a 4-4-2, and could he play Jake O'Brien at right back and play Matt Doherty as a right midfielder? Because
I think I've been unfairly done. I'm sure I put Sinclair Armstrong in this squad.
No, you didn't.
I don't know now if you're.
Why are you getting? Where are you getting? You wouldn't have. You put Fessy in. I know you would have.
I might put Festy. I think that's what it was. I put Festy in, and you said he's not fit, and I went, "Well, I'd like to see Sinclair in," but you obviously didn't pass that message on to our arts coordinator.
No, because you had someone else. You had someone else in.
Because you want to be the number one fan of Sinclair.
No. You know what happened? You thought Sammy Smodics was fit. That's how much you know. Even the man had surgery last week. You thought he was fit, and you're like, no. And then you put. I don't know. Was it Callum Robinson you put in? I can't remember. Where was his Cannon? It was someone you put in. But just your midfield is very light. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're lacking a lot on your midfielders, Martin.
Yeah, but if we can not. I don't know. Really, are we? Am I? Like Matt Doherty can play right wing back, couldn't he? I know we were going to go forward at the back, but I don't know.
But maybe you're not. Maybe I've just packed the midfield too much. But no.
Yeah, like Finn Azaz could play number 10. Will can play there as well. You know, I think that's a very good Heimer. You know, make it happen. Right, we want to see your comments. Obviously, thank you for everyone for watching this evening. We're going to come on to them now, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in that. But yeah, just almost 2,000 watching the season, which is fantastic for 11 o'clock on a Monday night. We're all looking forward to. I was just looking at actually the squad going to be announced on Thursday, and looking at the weekend fixtures. Actually, I think Everton are at home to West Ham, so I'd imagine. I always look forward to the FAI's media output. They show the lads arriving for camp on Sunday or Saturday evening. They could even be arriving in now. For next, end of the weekend, isn't it? And they'll obviously be arriving into Dublin for a St. Patrick's weekend bank holiday. That'll be interesting, I'm sure. But you'd imagine Jacob Bryan and West Ham surely won't bring Evan all the way back down to London. They'll probably be going from like a northern airport, you'd imagine. So I was just looking at the games because there's not an awful lot on Sunday with our input in, I don't think. And you've obviously got Caoimhín Kelleher going to be hopefully in action for Liverpool in the League Cup final, which I know that a few people have asked, do we think he will play? So that's one game, obviously, on Sunday. So, right, we'll get on to the views and your comments. So, first one from Dara. Thanks for watching. Love the little emblem there, Man United badge. Rumours of Vata pulling out the squad tonight. Have you heard anything about that, Connor?
I don't know. Can you hear me, Martin? Put a thumbs up if you can hear me, because I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Martin?
Yeah.
Put your thumbs up if you can hear me, because I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can.
But
can everyone else hear me?
Fixed. That stuff of Vata pulling out the squad is simply bullshit. He is not pulled out of an Ireland squad. So no, that's I seen that on Twitter. Actually, it was some Albanian, as Albanians like to do. Cannot handle the fact that Rocco Vata has decided that he wants to play for Ireland and not Albania. So they can dream on with their nonsense that they've been spouting, saying he hasn't picked Ireland. I can guarantee you he has picked Ireland.
Can you hear me yet?
And I still can't hear you yet, Martin. I'm trying to sort this out now.
Right.
I don't know why I can't hear you.
Do I need to kick you out and bring you back in, or what do you want to do? Everyone else can hear me, I imagine. Do let us know if there is any sound issues, and we'll blame the gremlin that is Dave.
Okay.
But you can hear me. There you go.
Nice.
Right. Okay. Good. You chatted a little bit of this next comment. Obviously, is talking about the decision, or the rumors from FIFA that we're going to go to a 64 team World Cup. The halftime show, mid-seasons, World Cups as well in the Middle East. 5 countries for that World Cup, 100-year from the original one. And talking about the one in America as well. So Kieran makes that point. Just on the halftime show stuff, I listened to the show, and you cannot get all our back catalogue, and do give the lads a listen, especially as they wax lyrical about Troy Parrott during the week against Spurs. It is only Spurs, of course, but yeah, I was thinking about this, the halftime show thing at the World Cup, and I was listening along to the pod and your views on it, and I think it can't be more than 20 minutes. But one thing I would say about this, and I know it's critical of FIFA and stuff, but that halftime show isn't for the people in the stadium. That's for people at home. That's for the TV audience, the sponsors and things. Like it is the Super Bowl. It's become bigger than the Super Bowl, actually, if you have a live performance on. But they are run to the minute, those events. And if you think of pre-Champions League finals, sometimes you see on a Champions League final, the live game, sometimes you see that whole show taking place and you see them in the tunnel and you think, wow, it's like 2 minutes to kick off. This game will not kick off on time. How are they going to get them out the tunnel? The match ball's all on a little plinth and it's carried out, and then they do the handshake. But it just runs like clockwork. They have the most organized kind of setup of these events. And I can't see that. I know football's different, but I can't see how it's going to impact massively unless it went into a half an hour time show. And I don't think that will work with football. I don't think they're going to mess with it. And I think FIFA, we've just got to acknowledge that it's all about money to them. They had that perfect World Cup the last time where Messi and Mbappe went head to head. They got the result they wanted with Messi. Well, Mbappe getting a hat trick and Messi ultimately winning and endorsing their, they got, Messi in that cloak and things like that. And the World Cup, they got all the images they wanted. That was the perfect World Cup for them to grow the game. So that would just be my views on that. I'm not overly concerned with it, to be honest. I'd be more concerned ultimately with FIFA. I mean, they're, and football governing bodies anyway, just getting more and more money down the pyramid to grassroots levels, to be honest. So that's what I want to see happen. And if you can promote it at the highest level, World Cup, and kids want to see the best footballers in the world playing, but the money does come in and filter down, I think that's just something that's going to happen now anyway. And just on that point as well, I mean, just like the FA Cup final, and I know we've got the final coming up on Sunday for the League Cup final in England, but the FA Cup final, if you've ever been to an FA Cup final, you'll see now, like, you've got competition winners being given a tour at half time. You've got DJ sets on stage. That's just what these experiences all these events now are junkie events, basically. You get people, not even true fans, going to them, but you've got all this corporate stuff going on all over the place, and that's just what they've turned football into. So that's my little rant on that one. We also will just come on to the next few comments. This Rolling Stone, is that Bosun Lowell again? The Irish Darren Anderton, he's digging you out there, Connor. What makes you think? Oh, that's just chatting about. Right, and then just another. We've got lots of comments from Rolling Stone this evening. Bulgaria will be a training session. They are pretty bad. Lost 5-0 to the Scottish Planters. There's been a lot of chat here as well, just on Vata turning down a call, but we're expecting
that's all bullshit. Don't worry, it's all bullshit. Just skip on through that part. No, I know it is. I mean, it is bullshit. It's not me just saying that.
There's a good comment here, Finn and Darcy. Does this mean Serkin didn't choose to pick us? If so, it's such a shame. What a great player he is and would have been for us. We can only assume that, can't we, Connor?
Yeah, hopefully he has. But Dave is fucking in his own wee world over there that he's going to be in it. But yeah, that's all I'll say. We just don't know about Serkin anymore, because in fairness, FAI keep a lot of stuff close to their chests and they don't let stuff like this get out. So that's why it kind of annoys me about the Vata and Abankwah stuff getting put out in the media. But no, I haven't heard that on Serkin.
And here is Aaron Ayres giving us his team, I assume, for the upcoming game. He's gone Kelleher, O'Brien, Collins, O'Shea, Brady, Cullen, Smallbone, Finazaz, Johnson, Vata, and Parrott. Very attacking side, I'd say.
That's kind of a team I would pick if I had a preferred. Definitely for the home leg anyway. Well, maybe I might have Knight at midfield instead of Smallbone, but definitely be very similar.
Instead of who?
Instead of Kelleher in goals.
Okay, I'll let you away with that one. Hi lads, this is Jared McGann. Hi Hi lads, enjoyable live as usual. Just wondering, do you think the Heimer needs to use this window as prep for Hungary rather than solely as a relegation playoff? Thoughts on that, Connor? Good point.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said. That's kind of what I mean in terms of having the likes of John Patrick Finn coming in, Sinclair Armstrong coming in. I think is by preparation, which I do think Heimer will look at that in the same. Obviously, we need to win, and getting 2 wins, not just winning. You want to win the away leg as well, just to build confidence and stuff. But I do think it is preparation more than anything, because who really cares about this playoff as long as we qualify for a playoff of the World Cup?
Yeah, and he goes on to actually say, as in focusing on a formation game plan that will beat Hungary rather than a formation game plan that will beat Bulgaria. I mean, I think we're both of the opinion that we will beat Bulgaria anyway, and that's not getting carried away. I mean, looking at their results, looking at their squad even announced today, it's nothing fantastic. I don't think they're in a bit of chaos as well with their. I've got a new manager. I can't see him being very organised. Saying that, I think where we are. Still relatively early days at Heimer, but I think we've got enough players playing at a high level. And, God, if we don't get a result against these in the 2 games, I think there will be a lot of criticism, sadly. So that does add a little bit of pressure to it. David Carl here. John Joe surely in another 65 minutes yesterday.
Hopefully. Well, you hope not, but I hope so.
No, got no problem with him being in there. And then we've got Donny Nagel saying one of Abankwah, Collins, or John Patrick must start in defensive midfield. So that is probably, I'd assume, alongside Josh Cullen.
Maybe no, probably it's the 6 because Collins technically played there in England, but why is Abankwah playing in midfield? Never played there before.
Okay.
And what's Rolling Stone on about? Did you skip that on purpose? Who is the Hungarian lad?
That Hungarian lad isn't all that. He runs around, he messes up his final ball often, and scores.
I can imagine he's by Sabazlai, but I guess that's what it's all about. Like talking himself.
Okay. Liam Hewitt. Hi Liam, thanks for watching this evening. Why does it have to be the summer? Why us in the this is about the World Cup. Why us in the Western world have to have everyone else accommodate us? Plus, watching matches all day when the weather is crap in December was a nice change from the summer. That's especially the view of the World Cup.
Well said. Because when we're going to be in, is it Saudi in 2030, and we're in Saudi in 2030 enjoying the nice weather in the winter whilst everyone else is struggling at home in the cold.
When we're just recovering from look, we'll be recovering from our World Cup American road trip.
Fact.
So any sponsors of the pod out there, 2,000 watching this evening, if you do work for a company who are any interest in Irish football, do promote the pod to them. We are looking for sponsors. We've got some great shows coming up as well. Some new stuff we're going to be working on in the next few weeks. And as I've said before, the lads are off to Bulgaria. We've got all the pre-match, post-match. We're going to be covering the press conferences as well. And I'll give a shout out as well to our fantastic writers team on Lansdowne, raw.ie, the website where you can get loads of views on opinion pieces, match write-ups on the League of Ireland. There's a lot of nostalgia kind of stuff coming out as well. So fantastic shout out to our brilliant writing team. And we're going to have it all covered over the next few weeks. So this is where you're going to get you want to know what's happening in Irish football. Follow us here on all our socials and give our page and show a like, and make sure you do subscribe. Right. Nick is very much of the opinion that Bulgaria team is rubbish. I sense a lovely 1-0 win.
As long as we win away from home, I know I've said they're absolutely terrible, which I will stand by, but it's not like we're any world beaters. As long as we win away from home and put in a performance that you think that's acceptable for an away game, because no one really hammers anyone away from home in international football. It's not really a done thing, but as long as we win, it's the main thing.
Yeah, and David Matter also says hopefully 1-0 away and 2-0 at home. So, yeah, I'm hoping that the away game, these Irish fans travelling out there, just under 1,000 travelling out to Bulgaria. And do you know what? It's going to be a bit of a difficult journey, that one, because it is a nightmare to get to. It's outside of Sofia. There's a lot of travel issues there. It's a late one as well. The game will be finishing at midnight their time. So I had a bit of a chat earlier with Dave about all this kind of stuff. Some of this might be news to you, but Ireland fans who are travelling, just to kind of let you know, some of you may be aware that I'm the chairman of the London Supporters Club, and we do obviously reach out. We've got a number of fans, members, obviously traveling, as we always do to every game. And, we've been told, and I know there will be news coming out from the FAI on this, but, post-match, the plan at the moment is there's going to be 45 minutes that the Irish fans will be kept in. They're going to work out how they're going to get Irish fans back to basically the town centre, because
it's not that far though, Martin, is it? Because
no, it's not. It'll be a bit of a walk though, and they're going to just for safety, they're going to try and corral everyone together as much as they can.
Because I seen
not great transport
from wherever my hotel is. Obviously, not everyone would be good. That area is only a 15-minute walk, which isn't a bad walk. And
they are going to look after. I'll be respectful how I say this. Some of our aged supporters, who that'll be many of those will be very familiar to a lot of Irish fans. When you see the national anthem being sang or aired in the stadiums around, and they focus on the fans, you do see a number of familiar faces. So they will look after them, make sure that they're well, no, Dave's in the posh seats and he with you, up with your journo mates. And this week, I think next week, I mean, you'll be missing Philip Quinn, won't you, from your ranks? I think he's retired now as a journalist. So fair play to him. Give him a big shout out there. Fantastic journalist over the years, followed Ireland many years, always really polite and lovely and engaging with us as we've been on the road with him. We will just focus on this comment now. If the League of Ireland players are now good enough, why not League One or League Two? That's from Rolling Stone. So I don't know what that's really about either. Right. Stephen O'Rourke, well done, lads. Always a pleasure watching. Really looking forward to the playoff. Yeah, we are too. Looking forward to it. As I said, Connor and David are going out there to Bulgaria. So do catch up with the lads when you're there. I'm going to fit them out in some Lansdowne Raw kind of merchandise, looking the part there, representing the pod on international soil. And do grab them and say hello to them, get a photo of them, and I'm sure they'll be sending me lots of photos back going, you're missing out on this, you don't go anymore, that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's them. But I just can't bear to listen to some of it sometimes. So no, I've got other engagements sadly that weekend, but I am in Dublin. Looking forward to that, bringing the family over to that one. Playoff, a little bit of a surprise.
Family day out.
I bring the family to these games. I'm bringing them up in London. I have to make sure the bonds are strong with Ireland. And I was very proud last week, actually. International Book Day. Is it World Book Day the other day?
Don't know.
You see that?
Don't know.
World Book Day the other day. So and also International Women's Day as well. So I sent them in with Irish themed Irish shirts on anyway. So that was quite good. Donny Nagel, Honohan is either good enough or he's not. There are better players than him. That is an opinion. And Aidan Corbett, I'd like to see Adomo Imaku in the squad, given his versatility to be able to play anywhere across the front three. Would be a real asset to the side with the ability to take players on at all times. You mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, Aidan was a good player, very good player. I just think probably with injuries, probably back too soon, but you never know what the way they're looking at players.
And Rolling Stone's just saying, if we're looking at League of Ireland players, then why not call Jack Byrne? Call up back Jack Byrne.
It's not 2022. It's not 2020. Rolling Stone, Jack Byrne.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't start much.
Yeah, he massively struggles with injuries, which is a shame for him. Brilliantly talented player. What would be one of the biggest moments in Jack Byrne's Ireland career?
You're going to say that Wales game away, aren't you? When you give away the ball, but you're just saying it to discriminate against him. But
one of the greatest things he did for Irish football. No. And Nick comes on to here. If Honohan was left-footed, I understand his inclusion more, but we're fairly okay in this position. Is it not a struggling position? No. I'm saying, yeah, he's saying if we was left-footed, yeah. Okay, I get the point. Nearly jumped on that. And then we got Baylor. Jeff Hendricks is back in contention for the Irish team. I would take him as a free roam danger man. Oh my god.
Good to see you. Good to see Jeff back in club action at Derby. Don't know how much he'll play between now and the end of the season, but good to see him back playing football. Because I thought he was done, to be honest, when he wasn't with anyone there after leaving Newcastle or Sheffield United Wednesday or what it was on loan.
Nick also follows up agreeing with Aiden. Imaku was fantastic at the weekend. And Rolling Stone just saying, I'm being serious when I say this, if Hendrick is in contention, then why not Jack Byrne? At least Byrne had the ability once upon a time. I mean,
Rolling Stone,
I've seen that
Hendrick isn't in contention. Don't worry.
Yet. And I've seen Ian Hart is playing in a charity match somewhere soon as well. And I love Ian Hart, but and I'm going to get hammered on that. Oh, I love Ian Hart. But we're not bringing Ian Hart back. We solved the left back problem. Steve Moore, is he still playing?
No, he's not. Mark Wilson, do a job.
Yeah. Jesus. We have someone who does the job at that left back position.
The cod.
The cod. And then we've got Dean Flood. With Schmodix out, is that a chance for Adomo to make the step up?
Idomo.
All right.
Adomo. You're worse than fucking Dave with the names.
And then Rolling Stone to say that Packy Bonner is a football person who's being kind to him, average keeper as well. You can't deny that Packy Bonner, and this is something just on the Late Show, a lot of criticism on him and like, why is he the kind of football person in the FAI? And he was, he played in the 80s, 90s and things like that. How's he still relevant? I think the FAI, again, I think Packy is a brilliant ambassador for Irish football, without a doubt. Always been really great to deal with when I've ever had interaction with him and stuff. But, you've got to remember, I think it was getting a trusted kind of person involved in the FAI after the John Delaney kind of era. Niall Quinn came in as possibly that person to kind of fill that role. Niall Mooney, we had in there as well, friend of the show, friend of the pod. Dave interviewed him once, I think.
Did he? Sure.
Did he? Oh yeah, remember the picture? Jesus.
He sent it yesterday. That's why. That's the only reason I know about it. He sent it yesterday.
But I think this is where the Irish football is. We haven't moved on from 25 years ago. The goalkeeper, who was obviously a key part of that. Even more than that, 35 years ago, 40 years ago, 88 and things like that. We are, Packy Bonner is a key person in Irish football and given a big responsibility here as a kind of sound person to be on the board, I suppose. And that's what we really need from a later generation, like Robbie Keane, Roy Keane, Damien Duff, those kind of people. Kilban, he offered his services previously, didn't he, to the FAI. Lee Carsey did as well. Those kind of people. And you could probably argue, why aren't they involved now? Well, they don't need the money because they would have done well financially out of the game. I know they're in different roles within football as well, but, I think it's a bit unfair to say Packy was, is a football person who's being kind to him, because I think he's done great service to Irish football, but I think it just shows where the FAI are ultimately. And he done well when let's not forget, Packy left the FAI at one stage and then was doing really, really great work with UEFA. And that's what it is. These associations and organisations, they will, people do develop themselves, and Noel Mooney did the same thing with UEFA as well. They build up their career again and they come back in a different role. And that's where Packy's involvement is with Irish football. Dean Flood, Albania is still holding out hope that Rocco will go into their senior squad after turning down an under-21 call-up, supposedly. And you've sent him asleep, which is great. Donny Nagel, why were Heimer and O'Shea both at Burnley Sunderland game a few weeks back? Can't be just to watch Cullen. I've seen actually a little quote from John O'Shea earlier saying, they or just alluding to the lads. Well, John O'Shea is a good friend of mine. Would have been the perfect team up, that would have been. But I've seen, there's no stone unturned, isn't there? They're trying to find anybody who is eligible. I know people will go, granny rulers, why are we doing that? But anyone who is eligible for Ireland, they want to explore it. And I think that is doing their due diligence. That is their job ultimately. So they will be looking at people, and we just don't know people's backgrounds, I think, ultimately. But that is that one. John McClean, what Honohan made it. Your Manning has to make Ryan Manning has to make the squad. Good technical footballer. I think Manning's a strange one because I just don't think he's really rated, is he? When he comes into an Ireland squad, he's always the one released on cut from the 24, that kind of thing. Aidan Corbett, this is Johnson, Vata, Imaku out wide with Parrott, Ida, Ferguson in the middle. Sounds handy enough for this window. Yep, I think all of them are going to be there apart from Imaku. I think Vata has his eye on Scotland. There is a Scottish lad at Watford who is begging to join the Tartan army.
Porteous has left the club.
Okay.
He's not there anymore.
All right, okay. Listen, we know our facts here. Do not doubt the rep tracker.
If he wanted to play for Scotland, he would have played for Scotland years ago. So,
yeah. Stephen O'Rourke, I don't know, but I say this manager will get something great from the players we have. I don't know who he was. I didn't know who he was when he came in, but he got something out of them in the short time he was with them. So fingers crossed.
That's the attitude I like.
Rolling Stone doesn't think we should be able to play Ferguson and Parrott. Aaron Gibbons, well, guys, great show again. Do you think Kelleher will start in the League Cup final against Newcastle? Go on, Connor.
I don't know. I'm worried he won't, because I know didn't Slot played Allison in the first leg. I know it was for like momentum reasons or something, he said, and then he played Kelleher in the FA Cup. But I'm worried because Slot seems to just act like Allison's his wee boyfriend, that he'll play Allison over him. And Rep Tracker will not be happy if I see Kelleher lined out on the bench on Sunday, because Kelleher deserves to start. And I know Allison is whatever the best keeper in the world and all that shit, but Kelleher that's his cup and he's made it his own and he is top class.
Yeah, I would love to see Kelleher play in the League Cup final. I think he will leave this year. Especially with them having that new goalkeeper coming in, which is...
He made a bad mistake at the weekend, by the way. Marv Dashvili. Shit. Useless.
And Allison, didn't he make a mistake?
Yeah, he did for small bones goal.
Yeah. That's... But, I'd love to see him play, and I think it would be the perfect kind of ending for him if they win the trophy there at Liverpool with Kelleher. Before he goes to Man United, Connor. He's not gonna Man United.
He's not. That was so stupid.
That's a bit of a joke. We chatted about that.
It wasn't a joke. You were being serious. Anyway,
I am being serious. I was talking to someone else about it the other day, and
that Kelleher could sign for Man United. Well, a genuine chance that Liverpool would sell a keeper to Man United. Not a chance.
Well,
it's never going to happen. He'll be in a Chelsea jersey in the summer. You watch.
But no, Kelleher again, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I think. I've been listening to. I listened to. It's a really good episode actually on the overlap. I know we do chat about other podcasts as well. We don't shout out other Irish football podcasts because they're not as good as us, obviously.
Jeez, you're going to make enemies here.
I'm joking. That's what you say in the group, isn't it? Am I not allowed to read your WhatsApp messages out live?
Oh yeah.
But no, listen to the overlap. Kasper Schmeichel, brilliant actually, just hearing about his mentality. And an interesting one from a goalkeeper's perspective. And Dave, well, this is for you, Dave. Is that I love Roy Keane told a little story of when he was saying about goalkeepers coming out for the ball, and that Seamus McDonough, Irish goalkeeper coach with him, said, when you come as you come out as a goalkeeper, come with violence, which I love that phrase. I thought that was really, really good. So very old school, of course, but and Kasper Schmeichel actually chats and says why you can't. But really, really good. And also another podcast I would recommend as well, often Irish themed. You might have seen clips of this. John Aldridge was on it recently, Under the Cosh, but an excellent recent episode that Under the Cosh done. It might be for their Patreon listeners. Was with Sean Scannell, former Crystal Palace player, came through with just underage with the same kind of year at Clinton Morrison was at Crystal Palace, now playing at Hornchurch in National League South. So, and I did actually see him in action against Enfield Town recently, but fantastic story. Another player who's really, really hyped up. I've seen photos of him on Instagram with him being given awards by Alex Ferguson and things like that. Was called up by Trapattoni and to the squad.
Never played senior level, he just
never played senior level. So it's a crazy story though, because he was such a hype player. Like I'll be honest, I was listening to it and I was just thinking to myself, it's a little bit like the Evan Ferguson story in a way, or Aaron Connolly. It's that, and it just shows you, it can just slip away very, very quickly. And that's it. When we do have these players coming through, the things that have got them that attention and that chance in the first place, they've just got to grab it with both hands. I think I always think back to it. Remember the Man United striker that what was his name? Wilson.
Michaela.
Was it Wilson?
James Wilson.
Yeah, I mean,
he scored in his debut.
Yeah, but the thing about I remember at United at that time was he stopped doing. He was like doing Roy Keane would have hated it, but it was all he was like in just jacuzzi recovery stuff instead of doing the things that got him attention in the first place, working, extra training, finishing drills, all that kind of stuff. Stop doing it. Thought they made it. So that's just we've got to understand that does happen in football. Where are we now? Scuzzy says Parrott has to play over Ferguson. Ferguson hasn't done anything. What's your thoughts on that, Connor? I mean, I know we spoke about Parrott doing so well for
he has to start. Yeah, I think he has to start, to be honest. Unless Ferguson starts this weekend for West Ham, I'll play playing Ira, and he starts and plays well. Because I know for a fact that Ferguson is the preference to be our number one to play Everton away this weekend. I know he is Heimer and John O'Shea's number one preference to be our number 9 for Ireland, because he's just that profile and he is that good. But the fact is he's just not really playing at club level, and I don't think unless he starts at the weekend for West Ham, I don't think he will start for Ireland, to be honest. So I think that's it really.
And Dean Flood kind of looking a bit more likely for a John Patrick Quinn call up. Baylor's gone early with the St. Patrick's Day celebrations a week early. Should bring Didsey as a senior player to guide his disciples. Rolling Stone, if Ferguson plays the first match in Bulgaria, there's a very good chance he will score. I agree with that. I think that's why we have to bring him in and play him. I think he'll get a couple of goals and remind, if they need a reminder, that at West Ham that this guy will score goals for you if you give him a service. I mean, we watched him a little bit tonight, didn't get the ball much, very frustrating, making runs.
Shot from 40 yards out, you can see that was out of frustration and not getting the ball.
Yeah, and there was one little bit where he made a little run in behind, it was kind of a half run in a way, because I was basically watching him. It was like player cam. I was watching him, and then he, Bowen just shot from and smashed it in someone's back, and you're thinking they're not linking up well at all, really. Dean Flood, if Ferguson starts both games and does well, I'd say he'll start for West Ham after the international break. Yeah, that's kind of the point we're making. Dean also says, is Armstrong an outside shout for the squad? We would like to see him in it, myself and Connor. Dave would like to see Damien Duff called back, because he is the player of a decade for Dave. Rolling Stone, the little I've seen of John Joe, he looks like he could be our best midfielder.
Possibly, yeah.
Nick says 4-1-2-1-2. Cullen, Knight, Malumbi, Azaz make up the midfield diamond. Parrott and Ferguson up front. That is an interesting one. A lot of people saying Parrott and Ferguson perhaps can't play together, but that is, I think this is a key thing for Heimer as well. I know that these games we've got coming up are obviously key to how we play, but we have to be adaptable as well. And in games, sometimes we're going to have to pack that midfield or drop a striker in. But if you could probably get away with playing a 2 up top here with this, and the 2 in a way like Parrott and Ferguson together, because I think you've got enough in behind. Nick says John Joe off the bench. This is a bit of a out there one. I have a feeling, this is Rolling Stone, I have a feeling that Potter wants to play Ferguson as little as possible because he wants to buy him cheap from Brighton. And Nick says, I agree, Rolling Stone. Potter will definitely want to buy him if he can. I don't think there's any doubt he would want to buy him, but I don't think anyone can afford him for what they want for him. But also, I don't think football really works that way, that I'm not going to play him. That's like I don't rate him, and then I'm going to be willing to part with money for him. Jason has given us a great support of the show. Good to see you, mate. Jason Fitzsimon, sorry. Surely Parrott has to start in Plovdiv, and I think he is probably the form striker. And then Jason's ruined it all by saying get Didsey in. So we do have a lot of kind of regular viewers, and it's brilliant to see you all here this evening again as usual. And thanks for your support of the show. Do make sure you give it a like and make sure you're subscribed. Dean Flood, still plenty of hope for Evan. He's only 20 and he showed his talent previously. He'll be grand. I think that's something we all agree with. Kieran Kelly, another cameo for Evan Ferguson. He might as well have stayed at Brighton. Get a permanent summer move out of England and rebuild his career. He needs to be regular starting games to progress as his career is going nowhere. Hopefully, Brighton get a decent fee so Bowes and St. Kevin's get some money to reinvest into their football clubs. Where do you think he? I don't know. Would he go abroad? Would he? Like, I know
he was going to go to Leverkusen. Leverkusen was set in stone. That loan move was happening until the Boniface thing fell apart with John Duran going to Al Nassr. So, unless I'd imagine Boniface could probably move on in the summer, or Patrick Schick could move on, which would open that up. So now, but Ferguson's a type player. He'll have so many options in the summer, and I don't think his stocks will really have fallen when he's not playing at West Ham. It'd be worse if he was playing every minute for West Ham and he's playing terribly, but just not really playing as much. And I do think it won't be long until he will get his first start soon enough. Like, he's not going to be a sub option for the rest of the season.
And he'll score goals, and that's the thing. And even you look at confidence in a striker, especially, is so important. You look at Højlund at United. You know that chance that he missed against Arsenal. You know, if it falls a little bit earlier on when he was scoring goals in that period for United, which is a long time ago now, but then that's what he will. You know, you kind of got to just go back to basics, I think, as a striker. And once you get one, I think you'll just go in a roll hopefully. Kieran Kelly, hoping Abankwah, Vata, and JJPF are new call-ups with either Cashin or Garcia McNulty also included. As I think you need a left-footed centre-back with Scales suspended. Scuzzy also has a comment. Parrott will have to carry the team from a scoring perspective. Very few others scoring enough goals. Oh, he's digging out Finazaz there, is he? He's not at all, but I just wanted to wind you up.
No, I don't fall for your shit, Brendy. Don't worry, I'm not that gullible, but
and there
comes in scores, and then
I think Finn is going to score, and I think Cousin Will scored. Like we've got goals in that midfield without a doubt. 100%. Mikey Johnson's got a good little record,
and especially against them sort of opposition, he loves to score against that sort of mid to low tier opposition.
Yeah. You know, and Aiden is a very. I think we should just read the first 3 words of this comment. Agree with Martin, Aiden Corbett. I'd like to see him go on loan to Braga, Feyenoord, Celtic, play every week, away from the intense spotlight and focus on development whilst competing in European comps. That could be something that happens, but yeah, so I think that's a good comment there. Dean Flood thinks Serkin might be a pipe dream if he plays for us. It will be like when he's 26, so basically a backup option for him. Rolling Stone, it takes more than talent to be a top player. If it was just about talent, then Maddison would be the best number 10 in the world. David Murta, any word on June friendlies? Little bit of news on this. There is expected to be 1 home game and 1 away. And I've heard as well that they're quite keen to kind of have a camp for a 7 to 10 day camp. But that's not all been confirmed yet. The reason why we haven't had any June opposition announced is basically these March games. Obviously, we're going to know who our opposition is for later on in the year when Denmark and Portugal play. But it's also to see which teams obviously are in contention and available for June for friendlies as well. But they're thinking it could be two games. Definitely 1 home is the kind of word, but maybe a camp away rather than 2 games. Phil and Darcy, is it a worry that we are picking League of Ireland players? Sorry, is this Ian Hart? Or do you think Heimer and the FAI just ticking the box after recent criticism? If they were good enough, they wouldn't be in the League of Ireland. Oh my God. Well, as our League of Ireland ambassador and writer, Connor?
No, it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing for the League of Ireland are being picked. It's not a negative. So we need to get out of that attitude. That's a huge negative.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, exactly. I think we also have to show, and I've got responsibility to show that, you know, there's an option for these League of Ireland players' ambition to, you can get international recognition and stuff, you know. So without a doubt, I think it's important. Rolling Stone, McLean was right about what he said about Rice. He's a very overrated player. When Declan Rice scored against Man United yesterday, which I thought was a fantastic goal. He doesn't score enough. Roy Keane actually said afterwards that he was very surprised that I think that's only his second goal of the season. He has a habit of scoring against Man United, a horrible habit to do, but he is an incredible footballer. I don't care what anyone says. Connor, would you agree with me about Declan Rice? He's not overrated either, I think.
I refuse to speak on him.
Okay. And Harry Homan saying, being a Rotherham fan, I took offence to his comments. That is about James McLean, who called out on his Instagram Rotherham, and is it stinking a piss or something, I think was paraphrasing. I hope that's right. Dean Flood, I'd agree in principle with McLean's comments about the association, may I add, being about the top of the association being Irish, and all but the response to that would be John Delaney. And all but the response to that would be John Delaney. Oh, right, yeah. So saying that, we had John Delaney, he was Irish, and look how that went. Rolling Stone, how is what McLean said offensive? You wouldn't have Paddy the Irishman running the FA in England. Well, we have Paddy the Irishman running the Welsh FA, don't we, Noel Mooney, and doing a fantastic job, friend of the pod. And I think Dave interviewed him once, Connor. I don't know if you knew that. Anyway, Dean Flood, also in terms of the teams, a lot of our best players from England and our best managers too are from England. Baylor, he's gone even down a darker hole drinking a week before St. Patrick's Day. But Didzy displaying dancing dribbles, deftly dismantling defences with dynamic dexterity. His deep determination drives deadly deliveries, dropping dimes with deliberate direction. Fantastic. I want that on a t-shirt. That is you, isn't it?
That's a ChatGPT special.
Yeah. Scuzzy, James McLean can be very mouthy. He isn't exactly on the same level of Roy Keane or Liam Brady. Can I add in Dumpy in that as well? While some of his opinions are valid, a lot of the time it just seems he wants attention. Yeah, I kind of agree with a little bit of that. McLean has every right to be upset. He wants to know where his money went. The FAI are scumbags. That is from Daniel Brown. Dean Flood, if Sirkin declared for Ireland, surely that would get an announcement like Johnson did. Rolling Stone, why should a caliber of player come into it? Roy Keane misbehaved. Great player, but mouthy arsehole who fancies himself as a comedian. He doesn't take his punditry serious. He has no credibility. Bit unfair, I think, on Roy. I think he's quite a good pundit. A bit old school at times and talking about standards and stuff, but I think there's a time and a place for that instead of, as Dave pulled you out for it. What was it? Give and go and all that current woke
nonsense.
Woke chat. Yeah, woke nonsense. Dean Flood, I also think Callum Robertson will be called up. Not necessarily what I want, which is my point, but I think he's a good dressing room presence. There you go. And that Dean Flood, he just gets it. Martin Fitzpatrick, Irish rugby fans are shite when the team are losing.
Shite in general. Nice national anthem, this thing.
Yeah. Dave Moto, any word in the June friendlies? We've done that one. We can hear you both, said Scuzzy. Just that's a shame that was when we had a little bit of noise or sound problems earlier. Liam Hewitt, agree about the 30,000, but most what he says comes across as bitter. He had been bitter about how his Ireland career ended. To be honest, it's much longer than it should have been. That's about James McLean. And Scuzzy says he 100% agree. Yep, I kind of get the points with that. Aaron Gubbins, who do you want, Portugal or Denmark? Right, Connor?
Probably Denmark. Denmark are still good though, so I'm not kind of really. But if Ronaldo's playing for Portugal, you'd probably rather play Portugal at the same time. But no, it would be Denmark because Portugal's squad is elite. It's one of the best pure talent.
Yeah, I mean.
Hyland's pretty crap, isn't he? And he's up front for them. But the rest are very good technical footballers.
Yeah, Schmeichel, obviously. They're solid, aren't they? Solid outfit.
Damsgaard's very good. Christensen at left back's a good player. Still Eriksson still does well for them. They still have a lot of talent, but compared to fucking Portugal, who are.
But I think, I want Denmark though. I'm gonna just say that. I think overall in the group, we would have more chance of winning it with Denmark.
You've more chance of winning the group definitely with Denmark, and a chance of.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd win the group over them, but like you'd at least have the chance of beating them at home or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, a lot of people Irish fans kind of be thinking Portugal or kind of the holiday or the hot trip or whatever it would be. But Denmark is, Copenhagen's a good crack. I'm used to it. I could travel around there with my eyes closed now. I've been there so often. Ben and Darcy, how many tickets have been sold so far for the Aviva? What would the atmosphere be like, do we think? Not sure on the ticket sales, but obviously it's part of the season ticket package. And this is, obviously it's a cyclical year one. So 6 games, I think it is. But first game, I think ticket sales will be okay. I know they're pushing still. So I would expect on a Sunday evening, it'll be pretty lively. I think it'll be a good atmosphere. I think it'll be dictated to by the first game, won't it? Though I think, to get a good result away, there's a lot of positivity about Irish football again. If Evan Ferguson scores a couple of goals, that puts arses on seats basically, and people will want to go and see Evan Ferguson because the stories will be all about him in the press. If it's a decent performance as well. So yeah, it's a big game for that as well. And I'm sure as well we might have a new kit. We should have anyway, but we don't get that right. And I'm not going to go off on a rant about that. Liam Hewitt, am I right in saying the FAI don't have a say in the kickoff times? They don't. No. That's something that actually came about with the Wembley game. Actually, and the game against England at Lansdowne Road. They wanted the Gardaí and different associations wanted early kickoff times, and UEFA said they wouldn't give them the money from kind of image rights and things like that, TV money, because obviously it was a big high profile game for UEFA and viewing figures. And if they wanted to make it earlier, they would lose the TV money as associations, was one story I did hear. Rolling Stone, the Hungarian lad was Zobo from Liverpool. If he has space to run at us, he is dangerous with his ball carrying, but is by no means a great number 10. And this is, sorry, Liam Hewitt just going on. Am I right in saying the FAI have no say in the kickoff times where UEFA dictates a 5 p.m. kickoff next Sunday would surely have improved numbers of tickets sold? Yeah, that's what the point I was saying. Yeah, no, it's all pre-done because they stagger the games throughout the day now for the viewing figures. Portugal will kill us in midfield. Vatina and Neves are monsters. Did you see what they did to Liverpool? Liam Hewitt would prefer Denmark over Portugal, not as potent. Prefer to face Rasmus rather than a 40-year-old Ronaldo, which is sad. As I'm a Man United fan. Alisson is still the best in the world, as much as we hate to say it, I think is what he was saying.
I think we know that, yeah.
Rolling Stone is writing off Ronaldo and saying he won't be in the squad, although exclusive breaking news, Ronaldo will be doing kick-ups in the 2030 halftime show at the World Cup in wherever it's going to be. Nick says Ferguson's only worth about 40 million now. Of course, they can afford him.
He's not worth about 30 million.
He's worth more than that, isn't he?
Yes.
You've got to remember as well, contractually, he extended his contract. If they want to let him go, he's going to be negotiating out of there some part settlement of his contract and things like that. So, yeah, that's just some of the things on that one. Where are we? Rolling Stone, last few comments. Thank you again for just over 2,000 watching this evening. If you haven't already, do subscribe and make sure you do follow us for the League of Ireland show, which is going to drop tomorrow evening. This is Rolling Stone. I don't think Denmark are much better than Hungary. Denmark have played Serbia a few times and they've been very tight games. So why would anyone want Denmark over Portugal? I don't know.
I think it's the Ronaldo aspect, or does he mean? Does he mean what does anyone rather?
Why would we want Denmark over Portugal? Because Denmark have been really good, but
no, he said they're not much better than Hungary though. So does he mean? I think he meant the other way around. I think he meant.
Oh yeah,
he wants Portugal. He'd rather get Denmark than
Portugal. Yeah. Rolling Stone, I'm agreeing with you. Oh, sorry. Okay, peace and love. Anyway. Rolling Stone, do we want Mainu to leave Man United?
No, we don't.
No. Did you see he was on the bench for Man United yesterday, wasn't he? The young lad.
Jack Moorhouse.
Yes.
And I can confirm that he will be in the Ireland 21 squad this Thursday.
Oh, there you go. Breaking news. There you go.
For anyone that's still watching. Actually, there's 2,000 people watching this. So.
2,000 people. Right, late one this evening. I do thank you for your support. Nick, sure we beat Denmark or Portugal. Come on, you boys in green. Fair play. And we've also got Jason again. There's a new kit coming out, is there? Well, there normally is this time of year. And we never get it right about St. Patrick's weekend and things for that.
But it was Rusha Littlejohn said kit on her story, didn't she? Someone asked her why you still wearing the old kit, and they're like, something like, you'll find out very soon, like teasing a new kit or something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask a quick question on Rusha. I saw a post that she could be going to the League of Ireland, yeah, and how good that would be for the League of Ireland. Do you necessarily think it would be?
No,
it'd be a good move for her, but not necessarily for the League of Ireland.
I don't know, like not against, but I don't know who. Like, it's not like she's Katie McCabe. I don't think anyone's going to pay her to go watch her play.
I want to know who she is in a way.
I think it's the same as, say, for example, if Jeff Hendrick came back and played in Ireland, people aren't going to go to League of Ireland games because Jeff Hendrick's come home to play. It's the same thing.
Yeah. You can get I think it's one of them apps, the where you can pay her to give you a message.
Cameo.
Yeah, they're all on them now. A lot of the Irish girls are on that. Anyway, Liam Hewitt, nice one for the show, and fair play to everyone else that started writing as well for the page. Yeah, do check out lansdowne.raw.ie for all the latest articles. We've got match reviews, match reports, nostalgia stories, lots and lots of articles on there from our fantastic team of writers who you may actually see around Dublin on the 23rd of March wearing a Lansdowne Raw hat, which is our appreciation of them. So, Nick,
and if you want to write, make sure to reach out.
Yeah, if you do want to write for us, reach out, contact us, all our socials, DM us or emails. You'll get hold of us one way or the other. And we are building our team. We're building our coverage. We're doing lots and lots of exciting things in the rest of 2025. This is a really exciting time for the podcast as well. We are, as I keep saying, we're independent. We will call out stuff for the FAI. We are going to be the lads, Connor and David, both write articles for the match program. So although it's a bit pricey now, it's got fantastic content in it. So do get that for your match day travels, of course. And but no, we just want to build and bring you. We do consider ourselves the voice of the fans because we're obviously given our time. We just want to see Irish football kind of flourish. So we know that there's a market for people to kind of have their say, and we want engagement from you. We're not behind a paywall yet. We won't be. So we just want your involvement and appreciate all your comments this evening. Nick just here says, well, Brighton were looking for 40 million for him in January. If he scores a few before the end of the season, his value will skyrocket, no doubt. And he also says, good show, lads. God bless. So thank you all for your comments. Connor, anything to add for this evening?
No. Bill Gaines trying to call me out, telling me that I'm wrong on Littlejohn, saying that people would go to watch her. So it's nothing against her. I just don't think she's a big enough name in terms of football, Irish football, for people to make a huge difference. But I hope she is, because it would be great to see. But just Irish football blog is having a go at myself and you, Martin. But no, that's all I've to add. And just if anyone else has reached out, as Liam said, fair play to anyone else, contact us about writing so far. And if there's anyone else that wants to join the team before the international break and write about all things Irish football, or even the League of Ireland, or even the women's team, make sure you reach out and you can get involved. You don't have to have any experience.
Yeah, we will give you the experience. We'll help you along, let you know how it's all done. Very simple. Connor does a fantastic job with that, with our writers team. And yeah, anyone, any ideas as well for shows or anything you want to see us talking about, do let us know, because we want to represent the Irish football fans, basically. So we're happy to chat about anything. And call out Dave for his knowledge of Irish football, and of course me as well, and Connor. So no, we do appreciate all your views this evening, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to catching up with you during the week. Obviously, got the League of Ireland podcast, and we're looking forward to Thursday, of course, where the Irish manager, Heimer, and John O'Shea, I'm not sure if he'll be at the press conference or not, but they'll be announcing the Ireland squad for the upcoming games for Bulgaria, where the boys are both going to be going over to Plovdiv as well, and we'll be in Dublin, all three of us as well. So we'll let you know the details of where you can catch up with us pre-post match or wherever it is. Looking forward to these now, the start of an international window with Ireland, where hopefully going to get good results and build towards qualification for the biggest road trip ever, off to America next year. Connor, are you looking forward to that?
I can't wait. I'm excited now already thinking about it.
It's happening, and we're going to be.
I don't think I'll ever leave my house ever again if we don't qualify for the World Cup. To be honest with you, I'll be so devastated. But I know Sinclair Armstrong, Andy Moore, and Rocco Vata, Boston Owl are taking us to that World Cup. You watch it.
We have to believe it's going to happen. So it's been too long since we've been at a World Cup, and we're going to be there. And you can be able to follow us, and Lansdowne Raw will be there along every step of the way as well. So thank you again for following us this evening, watching the show, and all your fantastic comments. The Raw faithful do appreciate your support. Good night, and God bless, and come on, you boys in green. And I've messed it up.